Energy matters, you guys, which is, not a hot take. And cities have different personalities. Cities have different birth charts, and where you live can really, really affect what kind of life it is that you're leading. If you're not happy with your life, if you feel like you are always drained, if you feel like you're overworking yourself and nothing's happening, maybe it's time to whip out that astrocartography map and see what's going on in the city that you're living in. See what lines are running through it, because maybe, just maybe, it's time for you to move. And I know moving is such a scary thing. Moving is scary for anybody. It's the biggest change, right? Like going through a career change, breaking up with people. Moving physically, that is up there with the scariest changes that can come along in our life, right? But I will tell you that it's worth it. If you're looking at that world map and you're seeing that you're near that Saturn line, that Pluto line, or whatever it is for you that is not working, then you can really understand, okay, like maybe it's not me. Maybe it's the energy of this location and me. You know what I mean? And then suddenly you move closer to, let's say, one of your Venus lines or your Jupiter lines, and life just gets easier. It gets better. You get luckier. Things just start flowing more effortlessly to you. You connect with people easier. Like, those are the benefits of using astrocartography to build a life for yourself. What's good, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Yap Therapy. I hope you're ready for some yapping and some therapy. But it's going to be the fun kind of therapy. The kind of therapy that will make you think about your birth chart. You know what I mean? That's the vibes that we have going on here. Especially today, we are talking about a topic that I am very passionate about, which is astrocartography. Somehow, some way, during this playoff season, NBA playoff season, I had this very lit, very high thought. And I related it to astrocartography, which we're going to get into later in this episode. And honestly, it's going to be such a fun segment just because it literally started with a little thought from me, a little high thought, and then me talking to people about it in real life. And then I realized, oh my God, I want to make this into a segment because this is perfect. So we're going to get into some astrocartography, which is the astrology of locations. If you don't know what that is, very, very brief intro to it. It's the astrology of location. So everywhere on this planet has a different type of energy for you depending on your birth chart. And there's a way to see. It's like a world map. It shows all the lines, like your Mars line, your Saturn line. It has all of that, and it essentially shows you why you feel different energies in different places in the world. You know what I mean? So that's a brief summary. So that's something that we're going to get into later today. But anyway, welcome to Yap Therapy. And honestly, I hope whatever it is that you're doing, I hope you're laying down. I hope you're horizontal. I hope you're chilling. I hope you're eating good because it's Taurus season. The vibes are telling you to relax. You know what I mean? I know we got that Mercury and that Venus and Aries and Mars and Leo. So maybe a part of you wants to get up and do something. I hope you're just ready to kick it because that's what we're going to do. And we're just going to have ourselves a time. Honestly, one thing that I wanted to check in with all of you, well, not all of you, but all of you are here. For the people that have a natal Pisces Saturn, how are y'all doing? Because we are getting to the tail end of our Saturn return, if you have a Pisces Saturn. And I say that while also acknowledging that it will go back into retrograde. Like once it leaves Pisces, soon-ish, it's gonna go retrograde and come back into Pisces after it's been in Aries. And then really like early 2026 is when we're finally done. But I feel like we're gonna get a breather this year. Once Saturn does move into Aries, what day is that actually? Let's look it up together. When does Saturn enter Aries? May 24th. Okay, so literally less than a month from now. Saturn is going to be entering Aries, so that's going to be really, really, really nice. And hopefully just a breath of fresh air for us natal Saturn and Pisces folks, because it's been a lot. Since 2023, it's been a lot. So if you're hanging in there, keep on hanging. We got this. And if you have a natal Saturn and Aries and your Saturn return is approaching, I am not one for fear-mongering ever. The advice I would give you is to just have your shit in order. You know what I mean? Everything that you could be doing right, do it right. Do it by the book. Don't be trying to, you know what I mean, skip the line. Don't be trying to cut corners, because your Saturn return just has a way of humbling you like no other. And no matter what, every person on this planet goes through a Saturn return. So it's not like this doom and gloom where some people try to fear-monger and make you feel like it's going to be the worst time of your life. I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you and tell you that it's going to be peaches and rainbows and you're just going to have the best time of your life. Well, for everyone, it's different too, depending on if you have any aspects, any positive aspects to your Saturn. All of that matters, obviously. But in general, Saturn returns, they can be a little bit serious or a lot of bit serious. So just be prepared to be on your responsible grind. And if you are in this phase where you are just kind of being delulu or you are not really dealing with the real life problems ahead of you, your Saturn return might force you to look at those problems because you're not going to be able to run away from them as easily. Like, that's how I would describe a Saturn return, is anything that isn't working, anything, any place, any area of your life that you've been cutting corners, especially the house that your Saturn is in. So if you have Saturn in Aries, check what house Aries is in for you. And then the themes of that house, that'll show you where that Saturn energy, that serious undertone kind of energy is going to leave its mark. And ultimately, when your Saturn return ends, is the area of your life that you probably have mastered a little bit more now. You know what I mean? Because your Saturn return is forcing you to look into that area of your life and see what's wrong, see what needs to be rebuilt, see what needs to be really looked at, and see where you need to have more discipline. So at the end of your Saturn return transit, you are going to have a stronger, sturdier relationship with that area of your life because hopefully it has whipped you into shape, and now you can't help but be more serious when it comes to that aspect of your life, So that's that on your Saturn returns. If you have a Saturn in Aries, let me know. How are you feeling about it approaching? If you're wrapping up your Saturn return in Pisces, let me know. What have you learned? Has anything good come of it? Let me know down below. But anyway, let's get into this astrocartography and sports segment that I have been cooking for about a week now. So let me set the scene for you. Basically, we're watching the playoffs. If you didn't know, I live in San Francisco, so therefore I am a Warriors fan. And let me tell you, it's fun being a Warriors fan, honestly. I think everyone loves their teams, obviously, but I just want to let you know, it is quite literally the funnest thing ever to have Stephen Curry on your team and to have, I believe, the greatest shooter of all time on your team. So basketball has just been so fun for me. I've lived in the city for over 10 years. So when we were winning championships, I was going to the parades. Die-hard basketball fan, die-hard Warriors fan. Me and my man watch it together. Me and my besties watch it together. It's a thing. Anyway, so we're watching the playoffs, right? And if you didn't know, and even if you're not into sports, I promise you, you're going to enjoy this segment because if you want to learn about astrocartography, you're going to learn about it through sports, Anyway, one of the biggest things that happened to the Warriors, we obviously acquired Jimmy Butler. And ever since we acquired Jimmy Butler, he's been happier. It just seems like he's been really thriving on our team. So there was a trade that happened. He was playing with Miami, the Miami Heat, for 5 years, I believe. And then towards the tail end of his, season, or during, I think, just the last season there, he was just not happy. He was not happy. He just needed a change. I think he was refusing to even play because he wanted to be traded that badly. I believe it was something along those lines. So when he got traded for the Warriors, it's just been this big thing. As a Warriors fan, I love seeing his chemistry with the team. It just seems like such a good fit, right? Besides all of that, I was thinking about how in sports, right, it's very, very normal in sports for players to be traded. Like, that is just something that happens. It's normalized. But one thing about it that I find interesting, and I know you guys do too, is that a player can play really, really well. A player can be amazing, and then suddenly when a trade happens and they're playing at another city, they're not doing as well. It's almost like they're a whole different person. Like, they can't carry over their skills to this new location. It almost seems like they're two different players. Like, the vibe is just different, right? So I was thinking about astrocartography and I'm like, oh my God, if you really think about it, I bet you certain players, when they get traded, when you look at their astrocartography, the city that they were playing first, if they were doing really well, I bet you they had some positive lines close to that city, like a Venus line or a Jupiter line, you know what I mean? And then let's say they get traded to a place that has their Saturn line really close to it. Now they're going to have all these restrictions. So I was thinking about how in sports it's crazy. And obviously I know there's a lot of other things that go into it too. Obviously, the team dynamic, your relationship with the coach, that can also affect whether you have the same skills that you did at the last place. Or maybe you weren't doing well at your original place and then you get traded to a new city and you start doing better. You know what I mean? So I was relating that to astrocartography, and I just thought that was just so interesting. And essentially when you move closer to a good line, you know, like your sun or your Jupiter or your Venus, it can really boost your confidence. It can boost your energy, your success, like so many different, you know, good things can happen to you. Whereas if you're moving towards a harder line, like your Saturn or Pluto or sometimes your Mars, it can really trigger, like I said, restrictions or insecurity or even injuries, you know, or like depression. Like so many things can affect you at this new location besides you just moving there. You know, the energy of that city can directly affect you based on your birth chart because that location has a birth chart. So really it's like a synastry read between you and that place. So yeah, next time you see one of your favorite, you know, players get traded and you see them flopping or you see them doing better, really just think about their astrocartography. You know, it could really affect their performance. You know, your performance is all about your energy and your confidence and your flow, right? Like your dynamic with the team. All of that can be affected by astrocartography and the astrocartography of you and that city. It makes perfect sense that a player's energy can completely, literally shift when they move from one city to another. And I honestly was like, oh my God, okay, I want to give the people an example. I want to give myself an example going into it blind because I don't know their charts. So I decided to do Jimmy Butler because obviously he just got traded to the Warriors this year and it seems like he has this amazing flow with the team. Like he literally just had an interview that I saw the other day and he literally said, I would die for these boys. Like he's talking about his teammates and it already just seems like there's such camaraderie there. And there's so much love there in the short span that he's been here with the Warriors. So I was like, okay, you know what? We're going to do the astrocartography of Jimmy Butler. Let's see what really went down from Miami to the Bay. So let's get into it. So obviously, like I said, Jimmy has obviously been thriving ever since he's been playing for the Warriors. And the vibe is just up. Like you could just see. Like he just gets along with everyone effortlessly. Coach Kerr loves him. It's just a completely different experience. And I have seen other players get traded just recently, big names, and I don't see the same flow. I don't see the same like, oh my God, like they're excited to like be here. It's so obvious. And I know both occurrences happen often where people get traded and it's amazing and then people get traded and it's not amazing. But with this particular trade with Jimmy, it's been amazing. Also, in terms of stats, like the Warriors have been winning more since Jimmy joined the team. But then also in terms of energy, it just seems like it's so much better and that he's fit in very, very effortlessly. And he just seems more grounded almost and relaxed and happy. That's the vibe I'm getting. I mean, I don't know him, but from what he's showing us, that's the vibe that I'm getting. So if you look at his astrocartography map, it actually makes a lot of sense. I'm going to post it right here. And I do want to say, you guys, I am not an expert on astrocartography. I'm sure there are many people online that have studied astrocartography way more than me. I am doing this strictly with the intention of entertainment and obviously learning together. You know what I mean? But if you want a more serious, in-depth video about astrocartography, I'm sure there are many other creators and astrologers out there that have it. This is basically what I've been learning lately and what I've been into because of the playoffs. So that's what we're doing here. It's for entertainment and fun. So don't take it too seriously, please. Let's just have some fun. So if you're looking at this and you're like, what am I looking at? Basically, this is the map, obviously, of the world. Yes, this is what the world looks like in case you've never seen it before. I'm so happy I can open up your mind to new things. So astrocartography is basically the astrology of location. So it's really showing you how different places around the world are activating different parts of your birth chart. Like you see all these lines here. These are the lines that are going through cities that are going to have different energies for you depending on the planet that is involving that line, right? So like I said with Jimmy, because he just seems overall more happier, it's actually very interesting because when you're looking at his astrocartography map, San Francisco is very close to his Mercury AC and his Venus AC sign. So his Mercury ascendant and his Venus ascendant lines. But before we get to the good stuff, we have to take it a little bit further back. Let's talk about Miami. Let's talk about Miami. Why does that sound like the beginning of like a girl's trip gone wrong? Let's talk about Miami. Let's talk about Miami. Side note, what is up with people saying if you go to Miami with the girls, you're going to come back and you're not going to be friends? Like, is that like a horror story that every girlfriend group has experienced? Luckily for me, knock on wood, I have gone to Miami with friends multiple times and that has not happened. So I don't know what it is. Actually, maybe next episode, we'll just look up the chart of Miami, the birth chart of Miami, and see what mess is going on over there, right? But anyway, back to Jimmy Butler and his energy changing from being in the Miami Heat to the Golden State Warriors. So let's take it back to Miami. He was playing for Miami, right? He was in Miami for years, absolutely killing it. He, I believe, was there for 5 years. And literally was the star because I believe he took them to the playoffs about 4 times. He took them to the playoffs 4 times and he was the star on the team. You know what I mean? Like he is just everything. Playoff Jimmy is real. Like his stats in the playoffs compared to his regular season, like he's an overall amazing player. But the jump from regular season to playoff season, it's crazy. So that's why they call him Playoff Jimmy. So he took his team Miami to the playoffs multiple times, but they just were not able to get that win. And like I said, this last year, he had a tough time because he didn't even want to play. You know what I mean? He just wanted to get traded so badly. So you could just tell that he was over it, you know? And it was sad for the fans because I'm sure he had, and it still has, a lot of fans. Actually, it's really funny. In the Warriors section of the comments, I see a lot of people from Miami or that, you know, loved him from his days of being on the Miami Heat. Like, oh, it makes me so sad. He just seems so much happier now. Or they're like, I'm so happy he got his joy back, you know. But it's obvious that people can see such a difference from his mood shifting from how he was in Miami to the Bay, right? So the vibe shifted. So guess what was happening in his astrocartography map, in his astrocartography chart, if you can call it that, in Miami. Basically, his Mars IC line was running through that area. It's very close to it. And like I said, there are some planets that you want close to you and some that you don't, depending on what's really going on in your life. You know, for the most part, some planets like Saturn and Pluto, the energy is going to be heavier. And Mars, in this case, was affecting him in not the best way towards the end of his journey there. Like, if you don't really understand the energy of the planets, let me translate Mars for you. Mars is the planet that is associated with conflict and aggression, fight, and sometimes burnout. The negative aspects of Mars, right? Because the positive aspects are all about motivation and drive and passion, right? And then it's your IC, you know? So like your 4th house, which is your home, your inner world, and your emotional foundation. That's what the 4th house is all about, right? It is how you deal with your emotions, you know? What's really going on in terms of stability, internal stability. So the fact that he had his Mars IC near Miami, that really affected his experience there. So when you blend Mars energy with this IC energy, it's really your emotional world going through this turmoil, going through this conflict, feeling like it has something to prove, almost like it is trying to break free of this emotional turmoil in an aggressive way, but it's not possible. And also Mars at its lowest vibration can make you feel like you have to constantly prove yourself. And it can attract tension and drama, you know what I mean? So yeah, it sucks because for him, when you put those two energies together, you really have a city that activates this constant internal tension. And Mars on the IC feels like you're never emotionally settled fully. Like there's just always this unease emotionally and internally. And I don't think that is when you can do your best work. Like, I mean, it goes to show just how talented he is. And it can be said for everybody, right? Like we all just have certain things that we easily thrive in, right? But also the energy of the world is there. There's our energy and how good we are at doing something. But then there's also the energy of the world, different locations in the world. So it makes sense why certain locations would make us do even better. Like if you have a skill that you're already good at and then you go somewhere that has good energy for you, of course it's going to tend to that skill. Of course it's going to make you even better at that skill, right? Because the energy is being added on to your energy, and it's just a catalyst for you thriving, right? But then, like I said, with him, obviously he's very talented, but he has this energy in this city, Miami, that is making him have this emotional inner turmoil and feeling like he constantly has to prove himself, but there's also this pushback, right? Like it's almost like all this energy is being wasted, right? I'm sure that's how he felt. Like you keep going to the playoffs and it's not happening. You keep giving it your everything and it's not happening. So it's almost pushing you back into your internal world of turmoil and unease, trying to figure out why. Trying to figure out, well, if I try harder, if I give more, maybe I'll feel better and I'll finally get it. And it's not happening and it's not happening. So then you start having this resentment. You know what I mean? Because let's be honest, there is absolutely nothing worse. And maybe it's because I'm a Martian. There's nothing worse than putting your energy towards something, just putting everything you have towards something that you want and not getting it, and constantly getting pushed back and constantly feeling like you're giving it everything you got, but it's just not happening for you. There is a sense of resentment that starts building up in you, within you, no matter what, no matter who you are and what it is that you're, trying to do and trying to achieve. If you are putting that Martian energy towards it and you're pushing yourself to the point of burnout and it's still not happening, you start having resentment, and I think at a certain point, hopefully, you realize, you know what, something's not working. We need to change something. And maybe that's exactly what happened to him, is realizing, you know what, I've been pushing myself. It's not happening. I have the energy. I have the skills, but it's just not happening here. So I want to go elsewhere. But also another one of his lines that is close to Miami is his sun I see. His sun I see is actually near Miami too. And basically this particular line creates a strong sense of personal connection to this place. It's your sun. Your sun is who you are, right? Like your essence, And when you are near your sun line, you can't help but want to be seen. Your identity feels very much tied to this place. Like, this is my house kind of vibe, right? So I'm sure when he started playing in Miami, it did feel like that. And he really probably enjoyed it, right? And he had, that Mars energy to give to the people that were placing him on this pedestal, right? That were making him feel like, yeah, he's running this shit, right? Because something about it had to hit for him to have stayed for 5 years and to have gone to the playoffs 4 out of those 5 years, right? Like clearly the energy was working in many ways, but then the burnout happened and the exhaustion of the negative aspects of Mars took over, right? But yeah, when you are near your sun IC, this can typically make you feel like you're meant to be a leader here, or you can build a legacy here, and you can just feel deeply, tied to this place. And it's the sun, you guys, it's where you radiate, right? So I'm sure, and it's obvious, when he played there, he felt like he was radiating. He felt like, all eyes were on him, and he is leading the pack, right? And like I said, Mars energy can be great. And can be great short term, like when he's having his playoff beast mode, but long term, it can get draining, right? It can get draining if you keep pushing yourself and you're not seeing the results, right? It's going to lead to burnout, like I said, especially for someone who probably already has a lot of internal pressure like him, because looking at his chart, actually, he has a Virgo sun and a Virgo Mars, and he has a Pisces moon. So the Virgo energy in his chart makes him a perfectionist, makes him want to work hard, but then his inner world, his Pisces moon, is very gentle, is very soft, is probably very sweet. He seems sweet. He seems like a ruthless player on the court, but when you are seeing his interviews, like, he is very calm. And I think that can also be related back to his Pisces moon, right? So I do think that his Pisces moon with this, Mars IC energy was going through a lot of shit, right? A lot of mixed feelings, because he was the face there and he probably wanted to get his first ring there, but something about the energy was just not happening for him. So he probably felt this internal turmoil of maybe I should stay here and keep grinding, or maybe it's just not going to happen here and it's time to give up that dream and move on. So now this is where the story continues. He gets traded to the Warriors. He comes to the Bay. Now let's look at his astrocartography map as it relates to the Bay Area, San Francisco, right? So even besides astrology, like I said, when you look at Jimmy and how he's been ever since he's been here, he just seems overall happier. He seems more grounded, lighter, calmer. He has a smile back on his face. He's really getting along with all of his teammates. His teammates have nothing but good things to say about him. And it just seems like this was the trade of all trades. Like he effortlessly blended with the team, right? So when you were looking at his astrocartography chart, his Venus AC line is close to the Bay Area. And that makes him obviously, you know, when you think of Venus, what is Venus? It's the planet of love and adoration and comfort and ease, right? So this just makes him even more likable. It makes him more magnetic and relaxed. And I'm sure he feels just overall more appreciated and just happy here, you know, by the fans, by the media, by his teammates, how people are viewing him, you know, even us, the watchers. We are viewing him in a very Venus type of way right now, right? He just seems happier, like everything is at ease. And the confidence that he's easily showing up with, I mean, he is Jimmy Butler, so I'm sure he's just confident no matter what, but it makes sense that he has this Venus AC line near the Bay Area because ever since the trade, it just seems like his confidence has even grown, you know, since being with the Warriors, and there is less pressure probably to have to prove himself. Because no matter what, when you're in a new area, let's just even tie it to like moving schools, right? When you're younger and you move and you go to a new school, like no matter what, there is going to be a period where you're transitioning and you're like the new kid and it feels weird. You could be the coolest person ever, but that transition is awkward, right? But because he has this Venus AC line here, that transition was nothing like that. He just effortlessly blended in with the team. The fans are really accepting him, really loving him. You can easily see the joy on his face. It is working out, and the astrology is backing it up. Now, the other line that he has close to the Bay is his Mercury AC. So that line is all about, you know, your public image and communication and charisma, because it's all about how you're communicating, right? How you are seen communicating.
Hi guys, I just quickly wanted to hop on here because I forgot to mention it in the video. There was another line that was close to the Bay Area of his, which is his Pluto AC line. And the themes of the Pluto AC line are all about deep personal transformation, empowerment, self-improvement, and complete rebirth of identity by shedding and confronting old fears and insecurities.
So this is also good for him because it's boosting his media presence. Not that I'm saying he needed, you know, more media presence, but it's boosting it in a positive way because it's also showing his chemistry with the team. There's literally so many videos already just from this season of all these inside jokes that he already has with the team, right? Like he's really getting along with them, and that probably has a lot to do with his Mercury AC line, you know? And all this to say, of course, you know, team chemistry and different coaching styles will always affect a trade to a need for a trade or someone getting traded and it not working out. All of those things matter too. But what I am trying to tell you is that astrology can also be added to that list. The list of reasons why players do well in some cities and not so well in other cities, and Jimmy was one of those examples, right? He was literally playing in two cities that had completely different planetary influences on him and on his chart and on his energy. Like the shift from all this Mars energy to his Mercury and Venus. Yeah, there was always going to be a big difference in terms of the energy. And he was always going to have a more easier, more relaxed state of mind while being with the Warriors. And I'm sure that's exactly how he feels. And honestly, I don't even want to be biased. I live in the Bay. The Bay is the best. Fuck all the astrology shit. Of course he was going to be happy. I'm sorry, I am biased. The Bay Area, it doesn't get better than this. But even beside all that, San Francisco, the city, when you look up SF's birth chart, San Francisco is a Cancer, Sun, Scorpio, Moon, right? So this is a very water dominant energy type of city. And it makes sense because literally it's called the Bay. And in San Francisco, like there's literally water like all around us, damn near, right? So it just makes so much sense. And of course, because he has a Pisces moon, I just think this was meant to be for him. He was always meant to come here. He was always going to thrive here. And I guarantee you, if you were to ask him how he feels right now, if he were to describe how he's feeling, he would tell you, well, besides the stress of the playoffs, he would tell you that ever since he came here, he probably just feels more at ease to be free, more at ease to connect with people, more at ease to build these relationships, more at ease to connect with the media and with the fans. He just probably feels so much more comfortable to express himself here because his inner world is more at peace. It all comes back to our inner world. Your fourth house in astrology truly matters so much. It is the foundation of who you are. So if you are going through really hard transits that are affecting your fourth house, your inner world is a mess. You know what I mean? So the fact that he had that Mars IC line so close to Miami, I feel bad for the Pisces moon. I really do. And honestly, I am so happy that he's in the Bay Area and probably feels more emotionally supported and relaxed and probably aligned with his purpose. And another fun fact, a lot of the players on the Warriors team are Pisceans. There's so many Pisces people on that team. Curry and Draymond being two of them, and there's more of them. And Jimmy having a Pisces moon already, that sun and moon conjunction is a big takeaway here. Having that sun and moon conjunction, his Pisces moon conjunct all these Pisces suns around him in his team, it also shows why he probably feels seen and understood and has created this effortless friendship with them. Because ultimately, you guys, synastry is everything. And if you think synastry won't affect how a team works together, then you are not paying attention. Truly. It could be a whole segment. Like, honestly, sports and astrology, people should do more of it. You know what I mean? You could literally sit down and look at the birth charts of everyone on that team and the coach, and it can show you a lot about their dynamic and why it's working and maybe why it's not, you know? So when you look at the Warriors and you look at all this Pisces energy, it goes to show why there's such fluidity and why it just seems to flow so effortlessly with the team when the right people are on the team and when the right trades are happening, right? So all of that matters. Astrocartography matters. The dynamic of the team matters as it relates to their synastry. Obviously, you know, the coaching style, all of that matters. But for the sake of today's segment, astrocartography is also a big factor. So even besides sports, I feel like we just deep dived into Jimmy Butler's life, but I feel like it was fun. I had fun. Besides that, even just talking about your own personal chart and your astrocartography map, right? Energy matters, you guys, which is, you know, not a hot take. And cities have different personalities. Cities have different birth charts, you know, and where you live can really affect what kind of life it is that you're leading. If you're not happy with your life, if you feel like you are always drained, if you feel like you're overworking yourself and nothing's happening, maybe it's time to whip out that astrocartography map and see what's going on in the city that you're living in. See what lines are running through it, because maybe, just maybe, it's time for you to move. And I know moving is such a scary thing. Moving is scary for anybody. It's the biggest change, right? Like going through a career change, you know, breaking up with people, moving physically, that is up there with the scariest changes that can come along in our life, right? But I will tell you that it's worth it. If you're looking at that world map and you're seeing that you're near that Saturn line, that Pluto line, or whatever it is for you that is not working, then you can really understand, okay, like maybe it's not me. Maybe it's the energy of this location and me. You know what I mean? And then suddenly you move closer to, let's say, one of your Venus lines or your Jupiter lines, and life just gets easier. It gets better. You get luckier. Things just start flowing more effortlessly to you. You connect with people easier. Like, those are the benefits of using astrocartography to build a life for yourself. And I think in this day and age, you guys, we are so lucky to have the internet, have all these free tools where you'll be able to see your astrocartography chart and really figure out what you need to do to change the energy of your life. If something's not working, then something needs to change. And if you're into astrology, you are already ahead of all the people that are not into astrology, because you can use the energy of the planets to see what cities in the world are going to help you have and live your absolute best life. And truly, even besides moving, you can use astrocartography to see what cities in the world you'd have the most fun traveling in, right? Like, there can literally be cities that everyone goes to and has fun, but for some reason, when you've visited, it's been horrible. You've been in your head. It's just not a vibe. It's literally happened to me before. I'm not going to name cities because I don't want to hurt people's feelings. And then I looked up my astrocartography and I saw that one of my lines was going through it that is not the best line. And I was like, oh my God, that is why I didn't have fun at all. That is literally why I felt like I was taking ayahuasca, even though I wasn't on ayahuasca. You know what I mean? Like, that can truly affect what kind of trip you're having, even if you're just there for fun. You know what I mean? So really, really, you can utilize it for so many different things. And if this is your first time learning about it, you're welcome. It's so fun. It's so interesting. And beware, after you see your map, you might want to move. You might want to pack it up. You might realize that you have to go to the other side of the world. And if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do, baby. You know what I mean? It's not worth it. It is not worth it. I promise you, even though moving seems like such a daunting task and so scary, it'll ultimately be completely worth it if the energy in your life completely shifts for the better. That 2-month process, 3-month process of figuring it out, maybe finding a job or whatever it may be, you know, the logistics that go into moving, that's nothing compared to a lifetime of happiness and ease that you might have if you take that risk and move somewhere where your astrocartography chart is working in your favor. All right, you guys, that is the end of this episode. I hope you had fun learning about astrocartography. I hope you enjoyed what I had to say about it. And if you already know what lines you're near, comment it down below. Let me know if you're near any of your positive lines. Let me know if you want to travel somewhere that is close to one of your positive lines. I want to know all of it. And if you don't even know where to start, go to Google and just Google astrocartography. And I believe the first website that will pop up will be AstroSeek. It'll say Astrocartography, Astro Map Free Astrology Online Calculator. That's the one you want to click on. It'll have you put in your birth info and it'll show you this big map. I know it seems intense at first, but just like anything else that you learn in life, just take your time with it. Google shit, learn about it, and you'll have so much fun. It'll honestly open up a whole new world for you, literally, because you're looking at the world through a new set of eyes, right? Like, there are cities that, like, you're probably obsessed with, and what if you look at your astrocartography map and it's near some of the lines that are going to make you live your best life, right? Like, what if you already feel this deep connection to the city that you haven't traveled to before, and one of your positive lines is near it? That literally happened to me. One of my ultimate favorite spots that I want to visit is Barcelona. Like, it's always been like number one for me. And one of the lines that is running through Spain for me has to do with deep emotional healing and calmness and tranquility. So it makes sense why I always felt connected to it, and I'm so excited to experience it. So check it out, astrocartography. I hope you had fun. Don't forget to comment down below with any of your thoughts about this topic. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, leave me a review. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. I love you guys so much. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next week.